in Canada. I was born and raised in Canada, in Ontario specifically, very close to the capital. All these things are the most important city, is all Torontonians will tell you. But I grew up with roots here in Jamaica, so I ended up coming here back and forth from birth. Realistically, I love to tell people that I had my first birthday party here, which I barely remember, but I was so excited, apparently, and I had a good time. And ever since, I've just been coming back and putting down roots and, you know, fostering friendships and really trying to understand the culture and how things work out here, because I really always saw myself coming back to stay. And I did exactly that almost a year ago. I'm almost at a year anniversary here. I used one of my last paychecks and decided that's it.
Just a little bit. Tell us about what that experience has been like, because coming back to Jamaica is not something a lot of people encourage people to do. They say, you know, not Jamaica, you know, all the negativity. And I'm like, well, you know, I would like to look at the other side of that as well.
It was scarier in theory and in fear than it was in actuality. It was much more of a culture shock in my brain than it was on the ground when I was here. Again, I did grow up coming back and forth, but I didn't grow up in, like, I wasn't spending months at a time. It was maybe like a month and a half max, you know what I mean? Like something around there. But I really quickly realized once living here that in the most loving way, people are people. And if you've lived and socialized in one country, to come and live and socialize in another is not so far out of your wheelhouse. It's not, you know, the commonalities and the common practices with socializing and the ways that people respond to each other generally stay the same. So, you know, it's just learning the local language and learning the local meanings behind things. But honestly, it was so much more peaceful being here than being back in Canada. I'll say that I as a culture, as a people, as tumultuous or as cantankerous as we say, you know, the stigma about our people, we're a very fair people. I find that this is a very, generally, it's like, you know, they're every action reaction, you know, whether or not you agree with the weight or with the justness, if you ask the person what's going on, there is action and reaction, you know. It's usually just cause based things, from the smallest arguments to the biggest, that I found. And it was easy to make the transition, or easier than I realized to make the transition, because I find that our people are very authentic people. So it's not, there's less games and less, you know, trying to figure people out or trying to read between the lines. It's very much what you see and what you get. You know, we're very honest. So I like it. I like the transition. Felt like coming home. It felt like coming home in the sense of, you know, recollection wise, what I remembered and what I favored as a child. And it also felt like coming home because it allowed me to just be myself and feel calm in being myself, because that was the standard.
Nice. So then how come then, how would you get into this whole mushroom situation? Because Jamaica isn't known for that. Jamaica is known for ganja. Oh, we're mushroom. How come you've gotten involved in all? What was your experience with it?
Mushrooms for me made the connection in my life through the diaspora in Canada. And I entered into mushrooms in maybe 2019, 2020. Let's say 2018, 2019 actually. And I feel that it was because a lot of us who were second generation, you know, or first generation Canadians, and our parents had come over there, we were feeling very displaced, and we were starting to tap back into our roots and things that we were learning from our roots. And even if we didn't have a lot of roots, or, you know, some of us triracial, quadracial, you know what I mean? We had so many roots. We were trying to looking all the directions, and one of the directions came up to more herbal medicinal practices. And among a couple things I tried, including Cambo, I decided to try mushrooms because like I said, I had heard from other people's experiences less that it was a relationship between you and this substance, and more this substance allowing a deeper relationship between you and self, you know, you and your experience, you and your
interesting.
You know? So
that's wonderful how you.
I chose that.
Yes, it's like a facilitator. So, wow.
That's it. Nice. That's it. And I took a very holistic approach and very health conscious approach to my entire lifestyle at that point. So I was damn near raw vegan and, you know, really conscious about the music I was listening to and very conscious about just everything I was consuming. I was so hyper conscious and always, you know, falling asleep with information. So mushrooms was, it felt like something that was going to be very pivotal for me at that point. And I followed my intuition, and it absolutely was. It was almost like that last piece I needed to just free myself. You know, I found that after I started microdosing and really had a deep dive with mushrooms, I let go less of what I felt like I was supposed to be. You know, it was no longer like, well, vegan because now I know all these facts about meat, and if I want to put the best into my body, you know, and it just became like, I'm eating consciously for what feels best in my body. You know, I'm paying attention to how my body's responding to things, and I'm working with my body to find the best possible diet for my body. You know, I'm working with science. I'm working with intuition. You know, I'm in a prayerful. I'm using meditation. I'm using numerology and numbers to help, you know, me align things. So I really took a completely holistic approach and was like, whichever way that the creator wants to communicate.
And we'll talk a little bit about this in your interview, because I want to talk about how that either aligns or doesn't align with traditional Christian values, and then how maybe this may be seen as something too far to one way or right or left of Christian values. So I want to, you know, have you talk a little bit about that when we get an opportunity to go deeper into this. Okay, but thank you so much for sharing that. And then finally, before we go to Amin, and then we will wrap it up, is how did you end up being a guide? Because that is another part of this experience that people kind of need when you first, it's like jumping in the water, in the pool for the first time, and you it's deep. You need somebody there at least to help you if you're going to be treading water to not drown. How did you get into this aspect of guiding?
I got into it because somebody pointed out a very important part of the experience for me, and that was my facilitator. You know, if I sit down, my facilitator, you know, the person that was there with me, the guy that was there, the people that were around, they played a very big part. Because, you know, when I sit down and I think about my first experiences with mushrooms, when I really took deep dives, I had a lot of questions. And I had a lot of questions because I had a lot of trouble allowing myself to just experience something. I felt like I still needed to be in control and still needed to gather facts so that I knew what was coming and knew what, you know, so I was very hell-bent on trying to do the research as I was going through it, as opposed to just allow the experience to be the research. So somebody brought that to my attention and was like, there's somebody that wants to have the experience, and I think that you would be the right person to be there with them, so that when they have these questions, you're able to answer them from a place of experience. You know what I mean? You've been there, you've had the questions, you've felt the stomach, you felt that, you know, you haven't felt the stomach, you know the difference of what changes that. So I just had someone point out the awareness of what it does having somebody there with you, and the fact that I truly believe we're communal beings. I feel like it's very natural. It's a very natural way to go through any medicine, is to go through it with somebody as well, you know?
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about that. And the whole control thing is probably where I'm gonna, you know, be trying to grab the slippery soap, because, you know, you can't hold it. It's just changing all the time.
Listen, can I just say that I'm excited for your dive? I'm excited for you.
Really?
I just share that with you. I'm excited for you. I can't even wait for the other side. I can't wait to meet you on the other side.
Me too. Let's start the recording.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on there, so just share it.